Chapter 25, What's in a Name? I couldn't thank Jeffrey Gonzalez the next day because he got suspended for fighting. Jeffrey was the first kid anyone could ever remember getting suspended for anything at Shelbourne Elementary. I hated the way people were whispering about him in the halls and in the cafeteria, like they enjoyed that somebody had gotten into big trouble. Like Jeffrey, was some kind of awful criminal. Space Cadet was a geek, but he was a really nice guy. At least, he always had been. So, I've been thinking about our visibility problem, Danny said. I hadn't even seen him come sit at the desk next to me and Rebecca. Our visibility problem? Rebecca said. As in, our books being visible when somebody drops one in the cafeteria, I interpreted. Exactamundo, Danny flicked his hair back. And I've got an idea, but it may require adding a new board member. Who? I asked. Let's get passes to the computer lab and I'll introduce you, Danny said. The computer lab had enough computers and printers for an entire class to use, but it was usually open for kids with passes unless a teacher had reserved it. Mr. Deacon checked our passes, and Danny led us to the back corner where another kid was sitting. I'd never seen him before, which made me think he wasn't a fourth grader. But he looked like a fourth grader, maybe even a third grader. He was short and stick-thin, with skin as dark black as mine and thick curly hair cut short on the sides, but very tall in the middle like a mushroom. He peered up at us through round, gold-rimmed glasses. Danny did some secret handshake with him. Ladies, may I introduce MJ, a.k.a. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, I asked. You mean like the basketball player? MJ slumped. Yes. He hates his name because he can't play basketball, Danny said. At all, MJ said. Danny took a seat beside him. And he's the shortest kid in 5th grade. 5th grade? And I thought he might be a third grader. Second shortest, MJ said. People in wheelchairs don't count in height competitions, Danny told him. MJ looked lasers at him. Man, do you want my help or not? Yes, yes, Danny said. He flicked his hair back and motioned for us to sit. What I didn't tell you about MJ is that he's like the best computer artist in the whole school. MJ looked more pleased to hear that. Show him what you got, MJ, Danny said. MJ called up a file on his computer. It was a cover of The Lightning Thief I'd never seen before, with Percy facing off against the massive Minotaur he fights the first time he goes to Camp Half-Blood. It was a great cover. What is this? I asked. A foreign edition? No, man, this is the MJ edition. You drew this? Rebecca said. On the computer, but yeah, MJ said. Didn't I tell you he was the best? Danny said. How does this help? Rebecca asked. We get MJ to make up fake covers and we put them on the books, I said. Danny flicked his hair out of his eyes. Got it in one. See? Now anybody drops a book in the cafeteria, Principal Banaszowski picks it up, she sees some other book. You'll do it? I asked. You'll make us up fake covers for all of our books? Yeah, MJ said, but it won't work to have the same cover for all of them. How many books are we talking about? 27, I told him. And more coming, Rebecca said. We hope. MJ whistled. I better get started. But I'm going to need some titles. Real ones? Danny asked. We better not, I said. If I realized this wasn't a real cover for The Lightning Thief, a teacher might too. We need some fake titles. MJ opened a word processing document. I'm all ears. Right now? Rebecca said. You want covers? I need titles, MJ said. How do you come up with a book title? How do authors come up with book titles? I never even thought about it. Book titles always had something to do with what was inside. So how could we come up with book titles for books that weren't real? Danny combed his hair away from his eyes with his fingers again, and I smiled. The boy who fell in love with his hair, I said. MJ cackled and started typing. Hey, that's not funny, Danny said. He flicked his hair, then realized what he was doing and blushed. Here's one for you, hair sucker. I shrank. I didn't know anybody ever noticed me chewing on my braids. Naturally curly, Rebecca said, pretending to primp her black curly hair. MJ laughed. All right. They can't all be about hair. We can't say sucker either, or they'll ban that too, Rebecca said. The girl who only loved books, Danny said. MJ nodded. I like that. Keep 'em coming. Jessica Rogers, girl lawyer, Rebecca said. I shook my head. Too close to something else. Rebecca brightened. Really? What? I shook my head again to let her know she really didn't want to read it. The Mystery of the Blue Parrot, I said. The 17th Princess, Rebecca said. Wet dog smell. Mr. Bear opens a bank account. I think I can see my house from here. They were already dead. Smell my finger. Tales of a 4th grade zombie. Robot Super Ninja. No, Super Robot Ninja. No, Super Ninja Robot Man. Danny, it doesn't matter. It's not a real book. I want it to sound good. We went back and forth, laughing as we came up with titles, with MJ typing all the time. We were having so much fun, Mr. Deacon had to tell us to hold it down. I popped up from behind the computer to signal to him we would be quiet and saw someone in the next row of computers staring right back at me. Trey McBride. He waved at me with one hand. His other hand was on the lid of a scanner. The light inside glided back and forth, and he opened it, took his sketchbook out, and flipped it over to scan the other side. I dropped back behind the row of computers, where the other 3 were swallowing their laughter so hard they were crying. Guys, I whispered, we have to hold it down. Rebecca nodded, tears rolling down her face. Danny let out something like a honk. I'm serious, I hissed. Trey's in the next row over. He probably heard everything we said. That got Rebecca and Danny's attention. They stopped laughing and peeked over the top of the row. Who's Trey? MJ asked. The son of the lady who banned all these books, I told him. But was that all he was? Her son? Or was he her spy, too? All right, I still need more titles, MJ said. I've got one, I said. How about friend or foe?